It's me, Kiera. Yes, it's been a little while. Yes, I got some new content for you. And I'm here today to talk to you about my gluten and dairy transformation story, how I got here, why I got here, and how I'm doing today. If you are new to my channel, my content is strictly about inspiring other people through overcoming my own situations, most recently being my life transformation through diet and figuring out what was truly bothering my body, which is gluten and dairy. I recently lost 50 pounds by switching to a gluten and dairy-free diet, which totally has changed my life. But also, there was a reason for me doing this. I didn't just wake up one morning and decide to stop eating gluten and dairy. Again, if you're new here, I have so much content that kind of gives you a background on that, so I won't go in depth about it. But the reason that I stopped consuming gluten and dairy is because I found myself very sick. I found myself always fatigued. I found myself with heartburn and GERD and depression, insomnia, anxiety. I was stressed all the time. My food was never settling. I was having heart palpitations. I had noticed skin rashes. There was so much going on in my body to the point where I would go see doctors often. I was always visiting the ER trying to figure out what was wrong with me, because at certain points I even thought that I was having like heart attack symptoms, okay? And I was scared, child. I was very, very afraid for my health, and so I would go see these doctors and they would just give me medications for high blood pressure, anxiety medications that control stomach acid. But I realized that all of these things that I was experiencing were symptoms of a greater issue, and I did not want to treat the symptom, okay? I did not want to band-aid the issue, because I recognized that something was out of order within my body, which led me to a naturopathic doctor. The naturopathic doctor ran some tests, a bunch of tests, just to figure out what was going on with me. Things that included hormonal tests, things like that, a lot of blood work, and one of those being food intolerance testing. And we found that gluten was highly reactive in my gut, so was dairy. There were other things, but those were the main things that were in the red category for my body. And so once I released those things from my diet, I started to see changes within the way that my body behaved. One of the things that I noticed most is the anxiety, but one of the things that other people notice most is the weight loss. Now, did I also do other things to aid in being healthier, like going to the gym? Absolutely. But I was also going to the gym when I was eating gluten and dairy. The issue was that I was having so much inflammation in my body, high cortisol levels, to where I felt like all of my efforts they just didn't matter, because I was not seeing the weight come off the way that I thought it should come off. When you tend to release inflammation from the body, a lot of the body's functions can return to normal. So that's really how I got to the point where I'm at today. How am I doing today? I'm okay. There's still some things that I'm learning about my body. There's still some healing that is taking place. There's still a daily effort on my part that I have to make sure that I'm taking, just to make sure I don't slip back into that way, or that I'm not worsening any conditions that I'm already having to live with. So while, I was operating probably at 15-20% back then, and now I'm about 60 to 70% better. And so I won't say that I'm 100% better, because again, it took years to get to that point, and it's probably going to take a good amount of time for complete healing. So I'm being very, very cautious and gentle with myself, also realizing and accepting the fact that it's going to take time. It's a journey. It takes effort. I want to talk about, when people ask me specific questions about how did I maintain this lifestyle, even though I was truly addicted to sugar. Cane sugar is another one of the things that I cut out. I was truly addicted to sugar and gluten, which you can find in mostly everything in the grocery stores these days, whether that is in your bread, whether that is in your waffles or pancakes, snacks, baked goods, in your frozen foods, in your canned foods, any type of packaged or processed food. You're going to find some gluten or some dairy or some cane sugar, or all three, within those ingredients. And I had to recognize that if I wanted to be better, I had to make better decisions. So that meant when I went to the grocery store, I had to start reading labels. I didn't feel like doing that, but today it's a lot better and it's a lot easier. Like, it comes by like just second nature at this point. But at the time, the way that I got through that phase was, for one, trying to eat more whole foods while I educated myself on what those bad foods looked like. It was kind of boring and bland in the beginning because I didn't have anything to guide me through that journey besides what my naturopathic doctor was telling me to eat. So if she told me to avoid these high category things and focus on whole foods, that means I was eating a lot of rice, a lot of potatoes, a lot of chicken, turkey, and veggies, okay? And fruits. And to be safe, I was doing those things continuously and avoiding packaged or processed foods because I recognize that I don't really know what this means for real. Like, what do I do? My lack of knowledge forced me to go out and find out how to identify these ingredients, because gluten has many names, okay? It goes by many different names. When you're reading your ingredients, you have to be aware of what those things are. So one of the things I did to help me while I was in the grocery store shopping, there's an app called GF Scanner. And so I would take my phone out and you would scan the barcode of whatever that item is that you're trying to purchase. And it will tell you right on the spot whether there are gluten containing ingredients within that product. And there are times where it does not provide an answer based on whatever the product is, but 80% of the time it's going to give you a definitive answer on whether there is gluten in that item or not. So that really helped me. Watching videos, reading books, looking at different guides, educating myself, taking courses, making sure that I'm educated in nutrition. Because not only was I wanting to help other people, I needed to heal myself in the same token. So that's something that you really want to do, because if it's healing that you want, you just have to put forth that type of effort. So that's another thing that I did. After some time had passed and I started to get comfortable with the foods that I could buy, I started revisiting old recipes that I had and figuring out how to make them gluten-free. For instance, I love a good dessert. I love cakes, cookies, and pies, okay? So giving that up hurt me to my core. But I figured there's gluten-free baking out there. But typically when I try gluten-free baking, it's gritty, it's not very good. And so I attempted to do that on my own. One of the first things that I made was banana bread, in which I share my recipe for the banana bread in one of my videos. If you want to watch that, go ahead and watch it, girl. But I tried making that with brown rice flour, and I replaced the butter, because that is dairy, with vegan butter instead. And another thing that I cut out was eggs. I might start incorporating those again a little bit later, we'll see. But I cut out eggs as well, and I will either replace those with just egg, which is an egg replacement, or sometimes I replace eggs with flaxseed gel or just ground up flax seeds. And when I tell you, the first time I bit into that banana bread and it was delicious, I was like, oh, I can do this. Thank God I found a way to avoid gluten, but also find a way to have the things that I actually enjoy. Being gluten-free, being dairy-free, being egg-free, being cane sugar-free does not mean that you cannot enjoy your food. If you look at the foods that I make, honey, they look good and they taste good, all right? And I share my recipes and my meals with other people that I love and my family, friends, you know, whatever. And they're very honest with me about what they like, okay? And I haven't had a moment where they're like, I don't like that, that's not good. I like to share a lot of these things for the beginner, because I realize that if you're beginning in this and you just strictly go from eating high caloric foods or highly processed foods to a gluten-free and dairy-free diet that is very restrictive, it's really hard to maintain that. So a lot of my content is for the person trying to transition, because a lot of the meals are just swap outs for how you would used to eat. It's up to us to focus on our own journey and make revisions or changes to it as we go, because in the beginning you might start out with you might go from eating pizza, right, and now you're gluten and dairy free, so now you eat gluten-free crust and dairy-free cheeses on your pizza. But that doesn't mean because you made the swap that you're now healthier. It just means that you're giving your body a chance to digest well, because you're not eating things that are inflammatory to you, which gives your body a better chance and less inflammation and less symptoms. You no longer experience those things within your body because you swapped out the gluten. But bread, whether it's gluten-free or not, is still processed and it still has things within it that cannot be so good for the body. I just want people to understand that what I share is for the person who is struggling to transition. You're struggling with eating gluten because it's causing some bad things to happen within your body and your body's functions. It's causing chemical imbalances. It's doing all the things that you really don't want your body doing. And so when you change to a gluten-free diet, you have the option to eat like that without the gluten. So I just wanted to make that clear as well. The key to being healthier is incorporating more fruits, more veggies, more water, being active, eating cleaner. It's not in the fact that you're switching from gluten pasta to gluten-free pasta or gluten bread to gluten-free bread. One of the things that has truly brought me a whole lot of peace and comfort is the fact that even when I find myself indulging or overeating, because of whatever reason, a lot of those reasons we don't need to go into, but sometimes we might, overeat. It might be that time of the month for some of us women, and we want a little bit more sugar than normal. What I've been able to see happening is that I'm not gaining weight at the rate that I was before I was gluten and dairy and cane sugar free. Like I said, it will be 2 years of me being gluten and dairy free in about 2 months, and I have only gained 7 pounds in about 6 months. When I was consuming gluten and dairy and cane sugar, I could gain 7 pounds in 1 month. My metabolism has changed for one, but I'm not overloading my body with something that is putting it in so much dysfunction that I'm packing on the pounds. So that is a plus to maintaining a diet like this, because I'm not seeing weight gain at the same rate that I was before. I'm not going to sit up here and say that I'm still going to the gym 6 days a week, because I've definitely taken a break from that. The holidays just passed. I done packed on some couple of pounds, and I understand where that comes from, but at the same time, I just stepped on a scale this morning and I'm back to normal. So it's the way that I'm able to maintain that healthy weight loss, and every time I get on a scale, I'm like, wow. Because in the past, when I would try to lose weight, I would lose the weight and then it would come right back fast, okay? Not over the span of 6 months or 7 months or a year. It would be back within a month or two, okay? So that's another thing that is a benefit of going gluten and dairy free. So again, I just wanted to kind of share a little bit more about my story. There are more videos to come. If you have questions, please drop them in the comments below, because I'm willing to share everything about this story, okay? But y'all have a good day, and I will see y'all in the next video.